I'd like to let everybody know that, and I would like to welcome everybody here today. Our superintendent of schools, Dr. Oliver Robinson, is with us. We have our board president. Where's Mary? Where's Mary? Over in the back, Mary Blaibauer is our board of education president. Rick Mincher is our board of education vice president. I think that's who I see so far. We got a lot of our students here. We have a lot of our coaches here. Coach Steuerwald, Coach Campisi are here with us today. And basically we're here because this is a great day for Shen Athletics. Over the course of the past 2 months, we've conducted an extensive search to fill two very big coaching positions within our athletic department, which is the head football job as well as the boys soccer job. When we talk about coaching athletics at Shenendehowa, we want people that have three qualities. We want them to be a good teacher and a good role model for our student athletes. We want them to be a good leader for the overall program. And then we want them to be a good fit in the overall athletic program. And I think that when you meet the two candidates that were appointed last night at our Board of Education, you're going to find that we have found two very successful individuals within our athletic program who are going to continue to lead these two sports into the future. With regards to the process, we've gotten a tremendous amount of calls regarding the process. Just to give everybody out there in the media a little bit of some information, certainly if you want to ask more questions, you can. We had, with regards to the football position, I received over 20 resumes from people that were interested in the position from as far away as Ohio, all the way down to New Jersey. I think the thing that made it a little bit difficult for us was we didn't have a physical education position that would have been, potentially have people come up here if we were looking at other people, but we did have a lot of interest. The soccer job, we had a lot of local interest. We received probably interest from over 10 people from both the college and high school ranks as to how we were moving forward. I felt very strongly with regards to soccer that we had a very strong internal candidate in-house, and we'll introduce him here in a second. So our process was very good. I feel the committee that did the search did a great job. And at this time, I want to make a formal announcement on behalf of the Shenendehowa Athletic Department that last night at our Board of Education meeting, our Board of Education, with members who are here today, unanimously approved John Bain to be the next Shenendehowa boys soccer coach and Brian Clawson to be the next Shenendehowa football coach. So if I get those guys to come up. All right, Brian right here, John over there. All right, at this time what we'll do is, Oliver, I think you've got Dr. Robinson's got a couple words for the guys.
Last time we sat here, we were saying goodbye, so to speak, to two legends, and a month later, we're here to say welcome to hopefully two more legends. And I say that we have strong programs. The gentleman who we're pleased to introduce to the public is our two coaches. Not to put a lot of pressure on you, but you know what? You're carrying and you're walking in big footprints. However, that's not the important part. It's not the footprints that you walked in. It's the footprints that you're going to make moving forward. And we're convinced that you are the right person for the job. And certainly last year I had the privilege of attending a couple soccer games. The thing that I struggle with soccer is, it's often cold and kids are running around in shorts. I got to get used to that, being a Southern boy. But I certainly, Coach Bain, I'm looking forward to seeing how you move the program forward. Coach Clawson, same here. I think we a tremendous hire by recommendation by Mr. Colden, because it's a program of legacy. This is where our young folks, boys turn into man. And you're a major part of that, turning boys into men. And you see it by alumni coming back and showing their support for the respective programs and two starred programs. So my compliments to Coach Campisi and Coach Steuerwald for leaving a tremendous legacy, but more importantly, I'm looking forward to the next chapter of Shen Athletics under your leadership. So congratulations.
Brian and John will have a quick minute to just say something, and then what we'll do is we'll take any questions, and then obviously we've got a lot of people around. I know the media likes to get some one-on-ones, and obviously with Brent and football coaches and Mike and some of the other folks that are here, you certainly have that opportunity. But John, if you want to go first.
Sure. I'd like to take the opportunity first to thank Dr. Robinson and Mr. Cullen and the board for giving me this wonderful opportunity. It's truly something that you don't come across many times, if ever, in life. and I really thank them for this opportunity. I'd also like to thank my wife, Kim, who puts up with me and all the coaching that we do, and really, she's been a very important part in getting me to this point. And of course, the last person is Coach Campisi, who's probably been the most important person in my coaching career. And he not only taught me so much about the game, but about coaching and about managing teams and dealing with parents and a little bit more of the political aspects. So I'd like to thank him as well. And I really look forward to continuing with, on the Shen tradition. And I'm aware that there are big shoes to fill, but I'm more than prepared to do so. And hopefully I can take Shen soccer to perhaps, the next level.
Congratulations. Brian's up.
First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Robinson, Mr. Cullen, the Board of Education, the selection committee, and a tremendous amount of people for their support in hiring me as the next head football coach at Shenendehowa. I'd also like to thank my wife, Stephanie, and my sons, Jason, Jack, and Connor, for their continued support throughout the year. I'd also like to thank the players. I had the opportunity to meet with them at 6 a.m. this morning for weight training, and it meant the world to me to be able to come into the weight room and every player shake my hand, said, "Congratulations, Coach," and we're looking forward to a great upcoming season. I'd like to thank all the assistant coaches, head coaches, and administrators that I've worked with over the course of my career, and I'm looking forward with great anticipation to leading this football program. I'd also like to thank Coach Steuerwald more than anyone that had a tremendous impact in my career and has kind of been a mentor to me for the past 11 seasons. To be able to be the head JV coach for 6 of those seasons and one of his assistants for 4, I feel like that puts me in a pretty good position to lead this program forward. So I thank you.
Congratulations. So everybody knows we got a lot of Brian's families here, and John's wife is over here, and we've got some coaches around. So if you need anybody needs to grab any, they're on this side over here. So, all right, we'll open it up at this point. I don't know who's got the first question, but somebody usually jumps right in. So go ahead, Stanley. That's always usually you. So.
Brian, I mean, when you come to this program as a JV coach and you work alongside, Coach Steuerwald, you're working alongside a legend. Was there ever any thought that, well, he can't last forever, but, what kind of person would have to take over the program from Coach Steuerwald? What was the design in your mind 7 years ago, and how did it change to, possibly guide you to where you are today?
Well, I've been coaching football for 15 years, and about 13 years ago, I made the career decision that I wanted to become a head coach someday, and the opportunity that I had to come to Shenendehowa 11 years ago, such a great reputation academically and a great, athletic tradition here. I just, relish the opportunity to work under Coach Steuerwald, and looking forward to working in the future.
How much pressure is there kickoff at the end of August this year?
There'll be a good amount of pressure, I would say. Coach Steuerwald's shoes are only a size 8, so hopefully it won't be too hard to replace him. But just to set the record straight, Brent Steuerwald is a man that cannot be replaced in this program. I will just set out to be Brian Clawson and with my assistant coaches work to carry the torch of the tradition of this program forward and lead us to a new beginning.
John, for you, you've sat beside Coach Campisi for so many years.
Is that a joke?
His enthusiasm, he's seen the game change. You're part of this is part of a new guard. How hard is it going to be to maintain the standards that have been set by Coach Campisi and for the program, and what's it take to keep that program at these great heights it's had?
I met with several of the players this afternoon, and one of the messages that I had to convey to them is that we are replacing 10 starting seniors from last year to this coming season, and for us to maintain that standard is going to take a great deal of work. And because of Coach Campisi, the standard of soccer in the Capital District has improved dramatically, and there's a great deal more parity than there ever was. And it's a lot of hard work and a commitment on players to play not year-round, but other than in the fall, and it's a commitment by me to coach those players at a younger age, teach them the game properly at a younger age so that it becomes that much easier to play when they're older. In regards to this season, we may struggle a bit early on, but I think that we'll compete like we can almost every season.
The having opportunity to sit down with both coaches, and especially Coach Steuerwald in the past year, something rang true that when your kids grow, your freshman, your JV, your varsity, the speed of the game changes. As coaches, you get them to understand that. As a coach, Coach Steuerwald explained that his preseason starts right after Valentine's Day for that fall. How much, are you prepared? How much, are you embracing the fact that now it really truly becomes a full-time job? And how was the conversation with your wives about, you thought we were living it before, but now we're really living it?
Good question.
The conversation went real well. My wife is very supportive of this decision. We're both diehard New York Giant fans, so we're very excited this week too. But she comes from a sports background family, so she's very supportive of me taking this position. What we did this year, we took approximately 2 weeks off after our last game, and December 19th, we started our 6 o'clock a.m. weight training with Coach McQuaid. And that's something that Coach McQuaid started a long time ago. I've been with him for the past 11 years, and to be able to go in there 3 times a week and set a short-term goal of the Ballston Spa weightlifting meet on March 3rd, that gives our players kind of an opportunity to get an idea of what they're going into this season. From there, we'll have some 7-on-7 camps come up, towards the end of the school year in the summer, and the Albany State team camp that we've been to the past 2 years. So I think the players understand that, they got a taste of what it's like to play at the state level, and the taste was right there. Didn't fulfill, the expectation or the main goal, but they're ready to work their tails off into getting back there as well.
And for you, John?
This is something that, I was hoping to do for quite a while, and it seems that slowly but surely Mike got me more and more and more involved with the varsity program over the past few years. And even this year in particular, going to the state semifinals, that's the weekend before Thanksgiving, and that's 5 to 6 days a week from mid-August almost to Thanksgiving. So it kind of there wasn't a whole much of a conversation with my wife, but she understood, and she also comes from a sports background, and she's an educator as well, so she knows that there's some downtime, but when there's not downtime, you're always putting in hours, and you're always working to improve yourself or your players or both.
Stanley, I want to add too, one of the things is, I think you have to understand from these folks' perspective, they've been in programs where our varsity football coach was, Brent was here for 43 years. Mike was here for 32. So we would do end-of-season evaluations, and they would come in and they would see me, and I'd say, okay. So they kind of knew the game was starting to change about a year ago, that, I was kind of starting to hint that Brent and Mike and I had started to have conversations about how they were going to lead the program. I think the interesting thing is they kind of didn't believe me that this was actually going to be something that was happening. And they went through a process of where, when I kind of first told them, I said, I just want to give you a heads up. Mike and Brent have indicated to me that this is their last year. I think they thought for a minute I was kind of like, joking with them. But I think ultimately, their hard work And we've been able to watch them develop and grow as coaches over the course of the last, for me, 5 seasons, and they've been with us longer than that, but really it's put them in a position to take on these positions of leadership. So, what other questions we got out there?
Just for you, Chris, just when you see, this passing of the torch from Coach Steuerwald and Coach Campisi to Brian and John, and you look at the candidates that the search committee, along with the Board of Education, has approved, are we incorrect to see a trend where we're looking at young educators, where the school is looking at a long-term, hope for a long-term tenure by these coaches? Obviously, it's always a year-to-year decision. It's always a one-year agreement that someone would coach. But when you look at 2 educators from within Shenendehowa, is that a trend that you hope continues, or was this just how this one worked out?
I think it's a trend we hope continues. I think ultimately our goal, we have 2 people who sit here. We have a person from the social studies department. We have a person from the physical education department. That's very important to me. I know it's important to Dr. Robinson that we have people who are, inside the school working with our kids day in, day out, and then are extending the classroom. And that's the important piece here. They're extending the classroom beyond 2:40, 3:30, whatever schedule they're on, and they're now working with our kids long beyond when the school day ends. In interscholastic athletics at the high school level, it's education-based athletics. It's teaching just more than winning and losing on the scoreboard. So, ultimately, I think we've really found good role models for our kids. They're teachers first. They're coaches second. But at the same time, they know the responsibility that comes along with being a coach here at Shenendehowa and being a coach in positions of prominence like these 2 gentlemen are going to be kind of moving into. So, yeah, I think it's a trend that I hope continues, where we can continue to find good, strong people. I think it goes back to, we hire good teachers, we hire good classroom teachers, physical education teachers, and when we do that, we are hoping to invest in them to grow them into being good coaches. And here you have 2 people that have both put in over a decade of work as assistants and lower level coaches to prepare themselves to take on the role and responsibility of filling in for icons. And make no mistake about it, these 2 gentlemen are going to be filling in for icons. But one of the things that's very important, Stanley, to your question too about them being internal, we've been able to have a lot of conversations over the course of the last week. And as much as Brent and Mike are icons, I told them, you got to be yourself. Brian can't be Brent, and John can't be Mike. And I think Mike and Brent would tell you the same thing. But they got to be their own people, and they got to be their own person. And I think they're ready to take on that. I think they're just clearly ready to take on that responsibility. Oliver, you want to add anything on that with hiring teachers? Yeah. All right. Anything else up there? You guys good? And then you can get the one-on-ones that you need? Okay. Everybody smile. Kelly, where's Kelly?